One out of every.
Good night, and welcome to Let's Connect on 88.5 Soufriere FM. Apologies for our slightly late start. We had a little bit of technical issues, but we are here. We are live. Welcome to all of you who are here with us on our Facebook live chat. Those of you joining us on YouTube live, we want to thank you for always keeping it locked to Let's Connect. I want to say good night. Last week, Honorable Emma Hippolyte reminded me that I did not shout out our friend in St. Vincent, Miss Fancy Bowens. My apologies to our dear Fancy. I hope that you're on tonight. Good night to you guys. Good night to those of you all joining us all throughout Soufriere. We want to shout out all the various communities, but let us know where you are joining us from tonight. If you're on our live, let us know that you're here. Let us know that you're here with us, that you're still part of our Let's Connect family. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. So we want to say good night to the communities, especially big shout out to Fosse Jacques. Fosse Jacques, hope that you guys are not too cold tonight. Hope that the weather is nice, that you're enjoying it. Good night to you in Espinoise. Good night to you in Belvedere, St. Philip, Mocha, Mini, Belfort. We want to give a shout out to Wavin Claire. We want to say good night to you. If you are in the Crestland area, good night to you guys. Good night to everybody in New Development. If you're at Zeno, good night to you as well. Shout out to Towai. We want to give a special shout out to Diamond. Good night to those of you at Diamond. We want to say good night to everybody at Chateau Bel Air, Fort Jalib, Mont Lacroix. Good night to you guys. Belfort, Etongs, good night. Margaret Tooth, Sulphur Springs, good night. We want to say good night to you in Palm East. Good night to Fort Beignet. Good night to everybody down in Market Road and Barons Drive, Lenny's Hill. Good night to you guys as well. Shout out to Bouton. We want to say good night to you. If you are in Colabet, good night. If you are joining us from the town of Soufriere, if you're on Boulevard Street, Bridge Street, High Street, Etienne Street, good night. Church Street, Upper Victoria Street, all of you, welcome to our Let's Connect program for today, Tuesday, the 28th of January, 2025. The month of January is almost gone. That means we are almost into the best month of the year, February. I'm starting it off the right way with my birthday, the 1st of February. I'm accepting all gifts all week. So thank you in advance for all the chocolates and teddy bears and roses and everything that you want to send my way. I appreciate it in advance. We want to welcome all of you joining us on our chat once again. Tonight in studio, we have with us Mr. Richard Jean. Richard Jean is a man of many talents, a man very well known in the community by many different names. But tonight he is representing the St. Lucia Labour Party Youth Organization Soufriere Extension, and he is the president of the SLPYO Soufriere. We want to say good night to Mr. Jean. Welcome to our program, Mr. Jean.
Thank you very much, Ms. Dusauzay, and good night, viewers and listeners. It's a pleasure to be here this evening.
All right. Thank you so very much for joining us on our program. We definitely appreciate you taking the time to be here with us. Tonight, I want to petition our listening public to be as attentive as you usually are, but also take part in the conversation. Send us messages. Let us know how your thoughts on everything we're discussing. So hopefully we shall have a very wonderfully interactive program tonight. Tonight, we have many things up for discussion, but I want to ask if there's anybody with any deaf announcements that they would like to share from the community, any birthdays we're celebrating in the community this week. And I want to give a special shout out to three lovely ladies celebrating this week. I want to shout out Miss Rodrica. I want to shout out Mrs. Charlene Leon. I also want to shout out Miss Christia Antoine. And I also want to shout out Miss Feria Simon, who's celebrating a little later on, but she's also a fellow Aquarian. And I would like to shout out all other Aquarians celebrating this time of year. It is definitely wonderful to be on board with our fellow people of the spectrum. So I want to say happy birthday to all those celebrating. If you're celebrating, let us know if you're celebrating an anniversary, a birthday, or if you are currently mourning, let us sympathize with you. Please share that information with us in our Facebook live chat. Good night to you, Mr. Rufus Andre. Thank you for joining us and thank you for being in our conversation. We want to encourage those of you who are on, please do so. Please share the live. Let persons know that we are on. We're trying to keep our promise to you guys to be on every Tuesday at 8 o'clock, even if we don't do a full hour. But we are going to make an effort to bring to you every Tuesday our Let's Connect program and stay connected with you as much as possible throughout this year 2025. We're looking forward to exciting and wonderful things in this lineup for 2025. So many wonderful things are coming up. The battle relay for independence is beginning this week. So that is one of the highlights of our independence time that's coming up. Last week, we shared with you the full schedule of the variety of independence activities leading all the way up to March 8th. So we have that to look forward to as well. And we also want to remind you that several of the carnival bands have begun launching. So that means carnival is in the air as well. Carnival is coming up. We also have had the launch of, or rather, I should say, yes, the launch, the introduction of the Jazz Festival as well. We have a lot of things to look forward to coming up very, very soon in this year. Now, Mr. Jean, as I said, he's the president, so we want to ask him first question to exactly explain to us what is this organization about? What is its mandate? What are its goals? What can we look forward to expecting from this youth organization in Soufriere?
Once again, good evening to all our listeners. As Ms. Dusauzay said, my name is Richard Jean. I am the president of the Solution Labour Party Youth Organization. And to answer your question, the mandate or the goal of the SLPYO is a simple one but challenging: to foster change in our communities. And we're not I know some people say Lucia Labour Party and they will think, oh, it's one set of youth. No, we are looking to touch the lives of all, from our toddlers to as old as 40 something old. So we're looking to touch the lives of every young person in any possible way that we can. Of course, we have the support of our rep. So if we cannot do it through the means of our executive, then we take it higher to another level to the rep, and then we plead with her that we know that, hey, this person came to us and said that, they need assistance with whatever, and could you kindly please assist us to assist that person? So like I said, it's a simple one to touch the lives of all or as many young persons in our community as we can. But again, it's a very challenging one that we look to spearhead diligently and effectively.
Wonderful, wonderful. I love that mandate, and that is a admirable mandate as well. And I like that you willing to advocate on behalf of persons and approach, seek out the assistance from wherever it may come. So that's a wonderful mandate, and we do appreciate that. I do hope that our young people in Soufriere take advantage. Like you said, it's not for one set of youth; it's for
It's for
all
all.
youth. And according to the United Nations, youth is from the age, well, up to the age of 45. So you are classified as a youth up until 45.
35.
So I am literally at the cusp of becoming an adult. So I'm almost officially no longer a youth. As of next week Tuesday, I'm no longer a youth. So we're leaving it in the very capable hands of the SLPYO Super Extension. So can you mentioned the executive, that your executive would take up the mantle basically and lead that mandate. So can you tell us who the executive members are so that persons can be aware of who they can approach in terms of seeking advocacy for themselves or for their other fellow young people? Let us know who the executive members are and their roles, please.
All right. Okay, as you all know, I am the president. We do not have a vice president as yet, but our secretary is Mr. Clayton William. Our assistant secretary is Shadi Brandis. Our treasurer is Miss Iana Hippolyte. Our welfare officer is Miss Yvette Pascal, and our two trustees are Feria Simon and Edisa Eugene.
Okay, all right.
Or
One.
in our PRO, sorry, Mr. Darrell Miles Thomas.
Okay. All right. So you have a very diverse executive currently on hand. I wish you guys all the very best
Thank
in
you.
your endeavors as your newly formed executive. So I know that 2 weekends ago, the SLPYO had their first official activity for the year. That was the knockout football tournament, small goals football
No problem.
tournament.
Right.
And by all indications, it went well. The rain did cause a bit of an issue. If you could tell us a little bit more about that event, what was the goal? Do you think that you achieved the goal of what it is that you wanted to achieve on that day?
Okay, so like you mentioned, our first for the year, we had a small goals knockout competition football tournament right at the heart of Barron's Drive. And despite the rain, I must say that it was a very entertaining and exciting venture. The goal basically, this is one of many community outreach programs or sporting activities that we have planned for the calendar year of 2025. Our goal was to sort of two things: to do a data collection of young persons in the community, find out what's affecting them, and how we as a organization or as a group can assist them. And secondly, it was also a form of mobilizing. So we're looking as an executive, we cannot serve without a body. So we are looking to mobilize, and that was the first one. That was the first community that we targeted, and we have many more planned for next month and the coming weeks. So we can assure you that you'll see us in a community nearby.
Awesome, wonderful. Looking forward to more activities. You did mention you have something planned for the coming weeks and next month.
Yeah.
So, what's the next activity and what date? And tell us how we can participate.
Okay. So right now, on paper, we are scheduled to be at Palmis on February 2nd. And if most of you, I don't know if most of our listeners or persons know where Neil Lamontagne Hillside Cafe, Delicate Cafe, he sells the food. I up the Palmis Road, just before you take the road going to Castries.
Okay.
We'll be having a tech ball right there in that area there. So February 2nd, our second activity will be at Palmis in that area there. So you can look forward to seeing us. And again, we encourage every young person in Palmis to come out and support. I'm sure they will. I'm sure we will be having great prizes. So you'll never know if you don't come out. So come out.
Okay. I'm not familiar with tech ball. Is it a team activity or an individual play against individual type of thing?
At our next meeting, we are to decide and finalize all plans for that, which is just a how shall I say it? A fort, not a fort, but it's there. That's our next activity. But we haven't gone into details on how, if it's going to be age groups or if it's going to be individual or if it's going to be teams like you mentioned. So all that information we should have all that information by the end of the week. And I'm sure you will be seeing flyers again as you saw the knockout football competition. So yeah, like I said before the weekends, I'm sure you will hear more about that tech ball at Palmis.
Awesome, awesome. I look forward to seeing it because, like I said, I'm not familiar with the
Okay.
sport, so we're definitely still able to learn new things even at our age.
Right.
So I am looking forward to learning some more about tech ball and what it is and how exactly it's played and how can we compete with it. Who knows? We might be able to build a formidable enough team in Soufriere that we might. Who knows if there's an Olympic
It's
tech
the
ball
ball
team?
team.
We
Right.
might be able to.
You never know.
Never know. You never
Yeah.
know. St. Lucia is producing such wonderful people in terms of sporting. So we
Indeed.
would love to see the next Julian Alfred come out of Soufriere. It could be a tech ball player. It could be a football player. We never know. So looking forward
Right.
to that. We want to touch base a little bit since we're going to be in Palmis. I don't want to associate our communities in Sufra with any type of criminal activity. However, Barons Drive and Palmis are some of the communities that are looked at a lot in terms of crime and criminal activity here in Sufra. So we've had a wonderful activity already in Barons Drive, and we're planning one in Palmis. Are there any concerns or any avenues that you would like to seek out in terms of where crime is at right now with our youth? Because just I think just 2 days ago there was an incident where two young boys were apprehended with snatching of purses in the north, and we heard of a arrest taking place yesterday on the main road somewhere near Labrie Auger area. I'm not too sure of the exact location. So we have quite a few things happening criminal activity wise for in and around St. Lucia. Are there any concerns that SLPYO wants to look at or address, or any direction you want to go in terms of criminal activity?
Early, that in itself, Miss D'Souza, is a very
Complex. Yes, I agree.
complex situation. But the SLPYO will not shy away or will not say, hey, that's beyond our agenda, that's beyond our mandate, will not take part leave that to the police. No. We are looking to speak to this, well, not, I don't point fingers, but speak to the gangs or the young persons affiliated with gangs. Again, how can we help you? What are the issues? What we don't want to just cast a blanket and say, hey, it's about Ishmael. Kumama yo, kupapa yo, blah blah blah. The police will take it. No, when I was growing up, and that's a saying that I feel has gone out of the window. It takes a village
To
to
raise a
raise a
child.
child, and that is no longer there. The SLPYO, along with its, stakeholders and other persons, we're looking to take back that community, that awareness that, okay, we're not going to let one, two bad or persons with bad intentions ruin our community and put a fear in our communitants, safety. The people will be, hey, I don't want to be out. Or, Palmis, I'm not coming Palmis. No, we don't want that. We want to be reassure persons that, hey, it's safe. That's so far we're talking about. The place we love, the place, so we want to bring back that, and that itself will take more than one conversation within ourselves and within, again, we have to meet stakeholders and other, even the rep, on how we can approach this situation, because it's a sad one, to be honest. If I should say, it's a sad one because we lost the life of a young innocent guy,
Yes, yes.
and we don't want any more innocent lives being taken away through carelessness and through hotheads. So that is itself, like I said, in the coming weeks and months, we will be, aside of, apart from what we have planned for the year, that is also something I can assure you that we will be addressing soon.
Wonderful. I'm very happy to hear that. You said something, and it made me remember this week in my classes there was a quote I saw. I can't remember it word for word, but something about if you want to influence people, you give them what they want and you tell them how to get it, or you talk to them about what they want and you tell them how to get it.
Right.
That's how you influence people. So the approach of finding out what the youth want, I think that is the main thing. Find out what they want. What do they want? What do you want? Because I don't think sometimes even I don't think they know what they want.
And you're right.
Yeah.
And it's easy for us from the outside to judge them through. I mean, I'm not condoning what they're doing, but it's easy for us to say, "Oh, say to myself, person, be sure you just wish tremon. No, that's not. Again, that's not the mentality. I understand the frustration that might be our first thought, but again,
Well, that's with frustration. I can say at my age I've had a lot of frustration. I still deal with frustration on a daily basis. So frustration is something that's always going to be there. You're always going to have a level of frustration. So the key is to learn how to handle the
right,
frustration,
right.
because it's always going to be there. It's not going anywhere. It might seem that way as a young person, because I can remember being 14, 15, 16, 17 and feeling that high level of frustration, and it doesn't go away. It just changes, it evolves.
Exactly.
It doesn't go away. So you have to learn to manage your expectations and manage your frustration, because it's not going to go away. It's part of life. As an adult, I find myself saying, no, if it's not one thing, it's another thing. If it's not one thing, it's another thing. And that is the truth on a daily basis. If it's not something, it's another thing. If it happens every
Every day.
single day. So it does not stop. So the youth, I know they don't like to listen to older people now. I remember that's how I was as well. You stubborn, you don't want to hear anything. Nobody can tell you different. However, it does not change. You just have to learn to manage it. So I think we need a lot of the type of resources where we can help persons to manage their stress, their frustrations, their expectations, these type of things. We need to find avenues to manage it, because even last night there were shots heard around the community
Right,
last night,
correct.
and immediately when I look at the time, because I wanted to know what time it was, and then I said to myself, this is the time I would be walking home from Let's Connect, and immediately I wanted to cancel tonight's show. I was feeling like I cannot leave my house. I was feeling all types of fear. And you that's something that's normal.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to either way. I would not have left my house today. I would not have been on Let's Connect tonight, because I have that fear in me because of hearing gunshots.
Gunshots.
And if everybody had to feel that way, nobody would leave their house.
Exactly.
Nothing would get done. Nobody would report to work. Children would not go to school. Life would stop if we had all had to be victims of our fear.
Yeah.
So it's something that I want our young people to recognize, that the feelings they are feeling now, it might feel so overwhelming because you're just starting to feel it, but it's something you have to, or you will have to, because it doesn't go away. You will have to find a way to manage it. You have to find a way to accept it, manage it, deal with it, learn to move on with it. Otherwise, it's just going to be a crippling fear. You're going to end up paranoid. You're going to never leave your home. You'll never do anything. You'll never take a risk. You'll never try anything, because you're fearful all the time. And that's not how we want anybody to live. We don't want that for anybody.
And you're so right. Just to add a little bit on what you said, everybody, all of us, go through hardship or some sort of frustration in our lives. Like you said, it never stops. When you were small, you said you wish you were a grown up. Now
Right.
that
Now,
you're a grown up,
I wish I knew better. I would
exactly.
say a child.
So now we want to back to be a child, and say, me, life is hard, and I think something that a lot of people do not acknowledge. You see, mental health. I feel a lot of people feel when they mental health say okafu or tiba isa ban bot. But no, we all have mental issues. And
Because our negative thoughts happen.
and that's
You just have to learn how to switch, because you can't, a negative thought and a positive thought cannot exist at the same time.
and
Yeah.
you're right. And sometimes that negative thought can be through a loved one, a parent, a teacher, a friend, a
It can happen
good
from
friend,
anybody.
a best friend, whatever, a son, a daughter. So, and that's the worst one. So sometimes, and if you look at where those crime activities comes from. It's from, I don't want to discriminate, but it's from those kind of rural places where, and growing up, I'm not making excuses for them, but growing up, a lot of our families, our mothers were single parents, and we grew up with, more than one child in the household, and that always led to the older um, sibling taking care of the younger ones, and then while the mother work and the father is nowhere to be seen. And I believe that the absence of a father is a very essential role it plays. Some people might agree, some might disagree, but when there is no father figure in the household, the mother's at work. She comes home work 4 o'clock. Alas, she have to cook. She have to help you with homework.
And we were not meant to be alone. God did not create
Let
us
us
to be alone on earth. That's why God created Adam
Adam and
and Eve.
Eve.
We're not meant to do it all ourselves. So having one parent, it's always a lot on the one parent. It's
Right.
a burden. And that's why, like you said before, it used to be a village, takes a village to
Village to
raise a
raise a
child,
child.
because it's not just you would have your grandparents, you'd have your aunties, your uncles.
Yeah,
Everybody
somebody
would pitch
contribute,
in.
right?
So everybody would do something. If somebody is helping the child with the homework, somebody is washing the dishes, somebody's cooking the food, somebody has taken care of the laundry. Everybody would pitch in to make everything work out on a daily basis. And when you
Correct.
don't have that community behind you, a lot of things fall through
Yeah.
the cracks. And we
So
cannot blame the parent. Like you said, you cannot blame a
yeah,
single parent. They're trying their
best,
best.
and that's my. So these children obviously they go to,
They
they go
seek
to
out the
school,
community
and they
elsewhere.
go to
They
the
seek it
school, and
among
then
their
they meet. Hey,
friends. They seek
and
it
then
among the.
I see my friend have every day he come to school with $10. Boy, where
I
you get?
never have $10. How can
Hey,
I
how I
get
getting
ten
that? Come, boy,
dollars?
I go show you. I have a partner down the road.
And
Boom,
that's
and
how
that's
it
where it
starts.
starts,
That's how it starts.
and then obviously it's like a job. You graduate, you get promoted, you got to start, you maybe start with a knife, and then you graduate, you start using a gun. So again, that's why I said we have to find out the issues. That's we cannot just say start from the top. We have to go to the roots of the problem, find out what really
Yes, we
is.
need a lot of social programs for parents, a lot of social programs for young children.
Yeah.
We need resources. We need counseling.
And counseling, and
Counseling.
it's not only for the young persons, the parents, because the parents
Yes.
have going through their own
Everybody. I think
stuff in
everybody
there.
needs some form of
It's counseling
counseling, some form
because
of therapy.
I'm sure some people lay in bed and say, "Me, I don't do nothing again. Screw children, screw everything," and they just shut down, they melt down, they cry. Nobody knows what they're going through,
That's right.
and then we see them, and then we're judging
That's
them,
why. That's why a lot of people end up drinking and
committing suicide and doing all this
taking
kind of,
drugs, doing
and
something, because they need to get those. Like I said, you need to get the negative thoughts out, because. But the one thing, like I said, a negative thought and a positive thought cannot exist together. So once you have negative thoughts, try to force in some positive ones, and you'll see how quickly the negative
yeah,
ones go away.
and
That is one tip I've learned recently. If you think to yourself, I am too stupid to do this assignment. You doing your homework, you telling yourself you're stupid. Tell yourself, no, I am smart. I am a genius. Turn it around on yourself. Even if you don't believe it, just keep repeating it. Eventually, the negative thought will go away. You not remember you had that negative thought. That's one of the things we need to teach persons, that you need to be able to turn your brain and tell your brain no.
right,
Tell your brain that's not the thoughts I need to you to be having right now.
right.
We have a question from Mr. Rufus Andre. Mr. Rufus Andre asks, what plans are in place for the young ladies of the district? They shouldn't be left out. Now, I don't think we're singling out the men.
Right.
I know most times you hear of the boys in the crimes, but we have young ladies who need the help too. Need the I saw one young girl at the knockout football. And when I heard somebody asking her why she's not playing, like she's known to be in the football, and they were asking her why she was not playing that day, and I was hoping that she would have joined in with the boys. So I know there are young girls who are interested in sports. I know of a lot of budding young female athletes in Soufriere. I'm not sure if we'll get any for the tech ball on Sunday. But in terms of the young ladies, there's plenty of programs coming up, especially from the Soufriere Adult Learning Center for the young women. There's a lot of programs coming up. Customer service will be coming up soon. They're looking at garment creation. There is currently a cohort doing massage therapy. There are several CVQ courses available right here in Soufriere. And even if you're female, you can still do plumbing, tiling, and these other courses as well. Don't leave yourself behind. I would love to do plumbing. If I had the time, I would be doing the plumbing course. There's cake decorating and baking and pastry making as well. So there's lots of avenues for the young women should they choose not to go into the sporting activities. So we're focusing on both sporting and other avenues as well. I don't know if the SLPYO Super Extension has had any discussion currently in relation specifically to young women. I know we've been looking at youth in general. Mr. President, you can let me know if that's if there's any discussion that has taken place in that relation.
Not formally, but there have from last year. Um, and again, we're not a new executive, just to put that out there. We've had other from last year. We had that bars competition. It
Clash of
was
the
Clash of the
Bars.
Bars, which was a success, a major success. Thank you to everybody who participated. All the bars. Hillside Bar from Palmis was the other reigning champions. But yeah, like I said, we've had conversation, but not formal conversation on concrete how to. But again, we're looking at those important key important dates concerning women, Mother's Day, International Women's Day. And let me just give a little tap on that. International Women's Day. You hear that? You hear it's coming from last year December. Everybody talking about Women International Women's Day. When International Men's Day
I knew you were
reach,
coming with that.
nobody knows when is International Men's Day. Nobody,
I am sorry to say,
and that is a very.
it is sad
Let me tell you,
but true.
I
But
see
I
people,
think the men need to take ownership of their day.
and I agree.
That's what it is.
I
Because
agree.
women are always the ones taking ownership of International Women's Day, and we plan activities and we do things, and but the men need to take ownership of
But you
their
see, the
day
thing
and
about
come
us,
out
we're
and
not,
plan.
we're not that
Don't
kind
say you're
of.
not planners.
We're not planners.
You can be planners if you choose to be. You need to tell yourself you can. Don't speak negative.
We're not
Tell
speaking. I'm not speaking.
yourself, tell
You're right.
yourself, say,
I'm.
Richard Jean, I can put together a men's group. I can put together a men's retreat. I can plan an activity for
And you saw,
International Men's Day for Soufriere.
you are correct.
Tell yourself
You
that and you
are,
will make it
and I will
happen.
take that, and I will take that into consideration. I will manifest it.
There you go.
And like you said, there's a lot. That's what missing. That is what missing in our community. A lot of men's group. We have no men group. Like I know before, like churches they used to have men's group, youth group,
Mothers and fathers group. Right.
and this,
we actually have a question about that that's coming up. I just saw that question in
and
the chat.
a lot of that's been one of my thoughts and passion to, because our men, I'm not stepping on the women's toes, but men, boys, because as a young boy growing up in society told you, get up, don't cry, big boys don't cry, and I feel all that.
Stifling your emotions.
Yeah.
You're a human being.
So as a man, if you see me
emotions.
crying in public, can me say for come say some mama. So you have to hide. You have to try.
All you need is a hug, and
then
nobody wants to come and hug
and
you.
then we go through things as well as human beings. We go through the same whatever abuse, physical, and then we don't.
Almost everything women go
I feel
through, except for giving birth. That's the only thing y'all don't do.
But and again, people can agree and disagree with me. But the difference between men and women are, women can call their grandmother, they can call their mother, they can call their best friend, nanny, auntie, sister in the church, sister from another mother. But men, we don't talk. And that is why the suicide rate between men and women are so high, because men keep everything inside. No, even, and I feel, and even women, y'all put pressure on us for that. I always say it's not what you say, but it's how you say it.
Yes.
So
how you say it plays a very big
important role. Because the air, you see the air is shaped like a womb. So that's birth. That's where the birth has been taking place.
That's what ideas are birth. That's right.
Yeah.
You're listening.
And if you tell me as a teacher, as a child in school, boy, you not do nothing. You'll not come up to nothing in society. You'll just be a troublemaker. And
It
school is a
sticks.
second place after the home where you're supposed to, build some character or build some sort of life outside of your home. And you ain't a second home telling you that.
Yes.
What you
Yes.
expect?
That's very
What
true.
do you expect for
Very
the
true.
young boys? They drop out of school, they go again, like I said earlier, they go to the gangs, their friends, whoever introduced them to these guys, and then they turn to be gangsters. Because starting from the young persons, from a young age, and we were told boys have to be strong, men have to be strong, men mustn't cry, men mustn't do this, men mustn't do that. And then we grew up, you know what? Me, I'm not showing no kind of emotion. You can give us all the hugs, you can bring a dozen of roses for us. When you're for women, you want to bring that, you say, oh, so sweet. You take a picture, you show your friend. Men, our, some of us, not all of us, but some.
I hope that the special lady in your life gives you flowers for Father's Day.
No comments on that, please.
All right. So before we go to the next question in the chat, I want to shout out all those of you who have joined us in the live, those of you who have been commenting. So let me give a special shout out tonight. Miss Emmanuel joining us all the way from Brooklyn. Thank you very much for being here with us on Let's Connect. Good night to you, Thaddeus William. Good night to you, Tracy Descat. Good night to you, Miss Calixta Joseph. Thank you for being here with us. Dana Prosper. Good night. Good night. I see that you saying that you got the laptop for your child. Wonderful, wonderful. You did mention it on the last show. Good night to you, Deborah Gilks. Sheldon Lionel, good night as well. Didi, good night. Cleanna Alexander, good night. Cleanna says good night to you, Mr. Richard.
Good night, Cleanus.
So we want to go to the question asked by Sheldon Lionel. He said, are groups like mothers and fathers groups good for therapy? Now, I think I'll let Richard answer first, and then I will give my opinion on that. So, are groups like mothers and fathers good for therapy?
They are very much good for therapy, and I'll tell you why. I think um, a lot of not my probably in our era, I mean my age group, but the younger generation, like I mentioned earlier, they have no support. They have no mentorship. When I was growing up in society and as a young boy, I always used to look and say, boy, who would I want to
Who we want to
mirror
be like?
in Soufriere? And to please, when you see me in the street tomorrow, don't bash me for that. I couldn't identify nobody yet, because there was nobody outstanding like to say, boy, Daman doing a lot of. I want to be like Daman. So I took it on my own to say, hey, when when I live my life, and then I grow up, I want to be a role model. I want to be somebody that touch lives in any way I can, whether it's through a simple, motivation message, whether it's through, an act of kindness. So mothers group and fathers group are the key. That's where I feel it should start from, because those older persons, they can pass on knowledge, they can comfort you, they can tell you they were before us, so they know about life, and maybe it's slightly different, but they can. I feel like, and that's take a step further in communities. I feel like in our different communities, we need men, especially men in society, big men, form a little, a little men's group. I mean, we have to see children on the streets playing every day. Be a mentor to them. Some of the, and again, what like I mentioned, a lot of parents do not have time, because you see our children on the streets. We see children where they're not supposed to be dancing. Sometimes and you're wondering, where are those parents? So I feel as the like you said, the communities and mothers and fathers group should step in, or if they don't step in, we should seek their assistance. Say, hey, I know you more mature, you live life. I need advice on how I can help be a role model into our younger persons following after us. We don't want to continue seeing our young persons going astray, going to gangs, our young ladies, getting frustrated and saying, hey, selling the bodies, and people judging them for that, and there is no help. So I think collectively as a group, and all the young persons or the young youth groups should, reach out to these persons and involve them in conversations, and let us start, taking back that saying, it takes a village to raise a child. Let us involve everybody, and let us face those challenges head on as a community.
In I have a couple points to make in terms of this. In Let's go back first to the it takes a village to raise a child, yes, but first we need to behave as a village. We have It's unfortunate, but we have to recognize that it's an unfortunate truth as well that we do not behave as a community, as a village in a lot of aspects. There's a lot of fight down, there's a lot of
It's
malparler,
true.
there's a lot of gossip,
Been
there's a lot of
evil.
that type of behavior does not beget a community. It does not make a village. So that is why there's a disconnect between raising a child as a village. Because if your neighbors are vexed with each other, you cannot expect them to keep an eye out for your child.
Right.
So we need to behave as neighbors. We need to behave as a village. We need to behave as a community, first of all. But in terms of the aspect of mothers and fathers groups being good for therapy, I disagree. Therapy wise, no. Good for charity, yes. Good for seeking mentorship, yes. Like you said, a lot of our elderly persons who have lived life and who have experience and who know the ins and outs of different, like persons in the banking sector, persons in the cooking industry, in the entertainment industry. These people in groups are wonderful mentors, wonderful sources of information because they have that experience. But in terms of therapy, I do not think that that's the right place to go for therapy. That's my personal belief in that because in terms of therapy, you need to be able to have a not just trust in the person you're trying to get therapy from, because therapy is more of a one-on-one conversation.
Right.
It's not like I'm coming to a group unless it's like something like Alcoholics Anonymous, where you come and you talk about things you've done and
Right.
your shared experiences help the person. But in a one-on-one situation where you need somebody to be able to give you unbiased air, listen to you, and to be able to not judge you and not openly judge you, and for you to have no fear of that person going back out and divulging your information. I don't think you can get that in that type of a group setting. That's my personal opinion on that. For me, as therapy, you need to seek out a professional, somebody that is trained in giving you counseling. I know a lot of people shy away from getting counseling from religious persons, and I can understand that as well because you not necessarily want to hear a religious take on your
The
situation at
situation.
that particular time. Maybe later on down the road when you've already started your healing process, you've healed from certain traumas, you can then turn to a religious aspect. So therapy wise, I think you need to do your own personal research, maybe try and figure out what your traumas are on your own, and then seek out specific persons to help you with that specific trauma, or look at avenues to heal your trauma through other activities you can do on your own. But in a group setting for therapy, in that type of situation for therapy, I don't think that that's what we can use our mothers and fathers
That's good
groups
for.
or youth groups for. That's just my personal opinion. Everybody's free. Feel free to disagree if you feel so, but that's just my opinion on the matter. All right.
Right.
Good night to Miss Thalidwinas Gassi. Thank you for joining us on Let's Connect. Good night to you, Marcella Fitz. And welcome, Mr. Saltibus. Late, but you're here. That's wonderful. Good night to you, Miss Natalia Baptiste. Thank you for joining us on our Let's Connect program. I want to encourage persons who are in the live chat. We asked the question earlier on. What is it that young people want so that we can help them to figure out how to get it? We were talking about that earlier. So if you're under the age of 45, or if you have a lot of experience dealing with persons below the age of 45, let's say 18 to 45, 16 to 35, 15 to 35, 10 to 35, what do you think the young people want? What would you say young people are saying to you that they want? We're trying to answer that question. What do they want so that we can figure out how to tell them to get it? So is it that they want jobs? Is it that they want they want to be famous? Is it that they want to raise a family? What is the main thing that they are looking for and that they want? Good night to you, Andy Donny or Donai. Good night, good night, good night. We want to answer that question so that we can figure out, so that we can start to put together what ways, what avenues we can go towards in terms of assisting the youth. Right now, we have some wonderful programs. We have the SLPYO. We have our district rep who's doing all that she can. We have the Hope Initiative. We have so many wonderful things, and yet still we still seem to have persons falling through the cracks. So we need to fill in the cracks. We need to fill in the cracks. We need to figure out what it is that we're not doing as yet and figure out how we can do it. So we would love to get that feedback from you, wonderful people in our chat room. Persons, I think I'm not sure that if you're not following 88.5, if I'll see your comment here. So I've noticed that sometimes afterwards when I come back, I see comments that I did not see while we were on live. I'm not sure if you're not following or liking the page. Maybe that's why I'm not seeing your comment on the live. So if you notice that I have not called your name and you sent a comment, or I have not responded to a comment while on live, please check that you are following or liking the page so that we can see your comment. I think that might be one of the issues. I noticed that there are several comments that seem to be out. When I come back to look out afterwards, I see the comments. So just to help you to make sure we are all seen and heard while on live, make sure that you are on. Yes, sir, we do accept calls. We have our numbers on the screen. We accept WhatsApp calls and direct line calls as well. So if you are wanting to call and share your thoughts, you can reach us at 730-5388 on WhatsApp or direct call, as well as 459-7888 or 459-7885. All numbers on the screen are ready and willing for calls. All right. Rufus Andre says he's enjoying the discourse. He says he does not know Mr. Jean. All right. So, Mr. Jean, I don't know if you would like to share. He wants to know who your parents are. He says you're brilliant. He loves your vibe.
Thank you very much.
So, I don't know if you would like to share that background information.
What's his name?
Mr. Rufus Andre.
All right, Mr. Andre. Okay, my mother is no longer with us, but she was Miss Eugenia Jean. She was mostly known as Miss Dari. My uncle, I think most people should know my uncle, Rudolph Eloise. This is a plumber. My auntie is Anne-Marie Alexander. She's married to the past commissioner, Errol Alexander.
I don't know what else they need to know. I don't know. But you can find Mr. Jean at the Soufriere bus terminal.
Right.
Yes.
That's my place of employment. If you want to see me or know more about who I am, from 8 to 8 in the evening, I'm always there. So yeah, if you want to meet up, sure.
Right, Mr. Joy is the supervisor of the Soufriere bus terminal area. So he is usually right there. So you can find him at the bus terminal. If you would like to have any further conversations with him, or you can reach out to the SLPYO Soufriere extension on their various social media platforms as well, Facebook, Instagram. Yes. So, and we did mention the names of the executive at the earlier stage of the program. So you can reach out to any of the members of the SLPYO Soufriere extension as well. All right. So wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I am so happy that we have had such a wonderfully interactive program tonight. Indeed. We went a little longer than I expected us to go because, like I said, I'm a little scared. I want to walk to my home. So, but wonderful that we had such a wonderful time tonight. Next week, hopefully, I will have Mr. Saltibus. I'm putting you on the spot in the chat, Mr. Saltibus. Hopefully, you'll be my guest next week, Tuesday. I know you're always ready to come back on. And we do hope to, we had promised to have the stadium committee to come back on, because the last time we were on, we did not have enough time to go through everything. So look forward to having one or the other next week, Tuesday. Hopefully we shall either have Mr. Saltibus or we will have members of the stadium committee to give us some more information about how the facilities are accessed and used and what you can do at these facilities. So we have wonderful programs coming up for you, and we will be having the SLPYO back again when they're going to be talking about their next program after the Tech Ball. So wonderful things coming up, and like I said, we have wonderful things already started in the entirety of St. Lucia. Want to big up all the carnival bands who had their launch. We want to give a shout out to Claire Alfred and Scandal Mass, who launched on the weekend. Wonderful showing. They did a wonderful job. I love the versatility and the inclusivity that they showed. We want to shout out, I think Zuvo announced that they're coming out with they're showing very soon. I think it's called Fallen Angels. That's what it's called. So we have had Scandal Mass with Mystical Kingdoms. We have Zuvo coming up. So that's all the up north bands. But Soufriere bands, I hope you all are getting yourselves ready because we are ready for you all already.
The
So we hope that
SLPYO is looking to have a
Oh,
carnival band
really?
too.
Hey, put me to model a costume. I'm telling you now. I ready. Put me there. Put me there. All right. Big things for Soufriere. This year is going to be the year 2025. Thrive in 2025. For Soufriere, we are looking to thrive. Everything we in it, we there. Sports, we there. Education, we there. Everything, we there. So Calypso, get your Calypso songs, start writing your songs, get your art pieces ready. We're in everything this year. We're taking all the energy Julian Alfred gave us last year, 2024, and we're bringing it into 2025, and we're going to thrive. All right. So good night, everyone. Thank you so very much. I've loved tonight. Tonight was a wonderful program. We're back next week, Tuesday, 8 o'clock. And continuing throughout 2025. So until next week, have a wonderful night. Thank you so very much for joining us on Let's Connect. Mr. Jean, any last shout outs, last words?
No, I just want to say tonight it was a pleasure being there. It was a pleasure interacting with our listeners. As like Miss Reneata said, it's always a pleasure to be back and to further discuss or give you an update on what we have done in the community as a group. So thank you very much for having me, Ms. Dusauzay, and have a good night, listeners.
Thank you, guys. See you next week. Bye. I want to hold on.